Welcome back to the Nerd Grid. This is Oasis.
This is B. We're going to be talking about Kamikaze by Eminem. It was a surprise drop, and honestly, I was not expecting this at all. Eminem had come out with an album like 8 months before, so seeing him back in such a different fashion was exciting and definitely worth the wait, or just worth the listen, honestly. As many of you guys know, Eminem dropped a ton of disses throughout basically the whole hip-hop scene, and just the I'm not even sure how many songs there were. There were 15 or something like that.
There's about 13 tracks. Two of them were skits and 11 of them were actual songs. Okay,
so 13 songs, and we got to talk about every single song because they were definitely interesting. The skits were also pretty funny. I keep listening to them even though they're not really songs, but just the skits are back. So the first track on the album was The Ringer. What do you think about the song?
It was the perfect intro, and honestly, I consider it possibly one of the best verses of the year. There was no hook. It was just 5 minutes of straight rapping. He establishes from the very start that he's angry and that he's out here to respond to everyone who ever criticized Revival and who considered him to have fallen off as far as his quality of rapping. And it's just I don't know, the very first line, it's just I want to punch the whole world in the face right now. And then from there, you just get this very intense cutting flow from him. It's just everything is delivered with confidence and with just pure anger from Eminem.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, okay, it just gives you a whole idea of what this album's going to be about. And honestly, my first listen to a whole Eminem album was Revival. I've listened to a bunch of the other tracks, but I hadn't ever listened to one of his albums from the start to the end. So obviously this was pretty surprising to me. Not surprising in the way that I didn't think he'd be this angry about the album reception. I mean, it got mediocre reviews, but I didn't think he'd be that mad. I just expect him to release an album a couple years from now.
That's what it really says about this album, the urgency that he had, because really it's 2018 and a lot of people think it's funny just to make fun of Eminem or criticize him. And it's everyone's trying to forget about his legacy, and now everyone's trying to define him over Revival. So it's Eminem can't really move on. He needs to get this all out. He needs to set the record straight right away. And you can tell this is very fresh, and as soon as he got those reviews, he went into the studio and he put this together.
He was teasing something, he was in the studio, but I didn't expect him to release an album so quickly after. And honestly, from my perspective, I didn't think Revival was that bad. It wasn't amazing, but it was a pretty solid album in terms of just a different version of Eminem, honestly. It wasn't necessarily the typical Eminem, and I think that's what turned off a lot of people, personally. That's what I personally think.
It honestly felt like he took a lot of throwaway songs, put them together, and then added a few new tracks to it, and then delivered it. It wasn't very I feel there was something for everyone, but that's not exactly a beneficial thing at times. It's a bit all over the place. The rock beats from Rick Rubin were just not good. It just did not really fit with Eminem. It worked when he did the Marshall Mathers LP2
right,
with Berserk. But seeing 4 or 5 different rock tracks after he did Berserk, and they're all exactly the same, it just didn't. It was one and done. We already got this before, and now it's just it's run its course and we don't need it. I think Revival had a lot of good punchlines. It had a lot of battle rapper type of bars to it, but musically it wasn't what people wanted. It wasn't really a hip hop album. It was a pop album, really. And I think this is him returning to form. This is him musically getting back to where he should be with the hip hop beats and with the boom bap and with just like no real like extra poppy features, just a lot more like focus on the rap.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that as I was listening. I was like, I was hoping that he'd have like another feature, because I really enjoy his pop features, because they're still, I feel like they really demonstrate how talented Eminem is, not only in the rap scene but also in like the pop scene. When he makes a pop song, it's pretty good. Like, for example, River, that came out last year with Revival, that song was really good. Like, I really enjoyed it, and it definitely interested the audiences, because it did pretty well in terms of listens, because I think it's one of his top listens on Spotify right now.
I mean, I think River was a pretty good song. Like, honestly, like it was very like it's followed the same formula Eminem's been doing since Recovery, where it's like you get a big pop feature and then like you just like do your regular song and it's about a relationship or something. He did it with Rihanna. He repeated it with Ed Sheeran. It was just kind of like, it was just a bit tiring. Like, it got on the charts, but it didn't really last that long.
Yeah, I noticed that it lasted maybe a good month or two, and if that didn't tell anything to you, I guess it wasn't as successful. I know you know the buy rates for it, and you said that it was still pretty good for an album, but obviously like the reviews weren't as good, right?
Exactly. Like, I think it's the most panned Eminem album to date, and like the highest charting single was like 14th place out of 100, when River, like, I no exactly, Walk on Water got 14th. Yeah.
Walk on Water. Oh man, I forgot that was the Eminem song. I mean, at least he's returning to form with this song. He's aiming at all these people who gave him like really bad reviews. Since we were on the topic, the Ringer song, he's just like, all right, you give these artists who he believes aren't as good. I'm not going to say they're not as good, but these are words coming from his mouth, that he's saying that, these artists who don't put like a lot of as much effort as he does, or does as well as he does in the rap, in terms of rapping skills and stuff, they get better reviews, they get more praise than he does after trying to pour out his soul basically in the last album.
Exactly. It kind of like harkens back to like, it's a bit farther into the song. It's like towards the end, but he talks about like, he compares fast food to like the rappers of these days, where it's like, it's very easy to get, it's very quick to make, and then like he considers Revival to be like a filling meal. Like, it's more of like a quality like product with some time put behind it. It's more satisfying.
Yeah, I definitely heard that in Revival. It was a lot more wholesome. Like, it wasn't raunchy. There were some songs that obviously might have gotten a little bit up there, but it was definitely hitting more on like social issues, I guess, like, or issues that would pertain in that topic. Like, he was talking about his relationship with his ex-wife. He was talking to his daughter. He was just having like a lot of like feel good songs, or just like reflecting songs, talking about things that have happened in his life, or things that are happening around him. So this album is like complete opposite in terms of just like being, feel good ish. And then this is just like hitting everyone who's around him, like, who are getting praise he's hitting the people who are talking about less wholesome things, and he wants to just like get the message out there, like, hey, I tried something that was different, that was more me, and something I wanted to do, and these guys are releasing these kinds of like cheap, easy to make songs. I think he even mentioned Lil Pump, and obviously that was like a Gucci Gang, kind of deal. Gucci Gang is pretty quick song. You don't really need to listen to it much to know what the lyrics are. So I think he was definitely trying to aim at those kind of people, with the lyrics that could be easily made by the same kind of brand of artist, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think like he was like coming at the heads of a lot of people, but at the same time, like I think they were good like mentions of them, but they weren't like very like. I think people are overhyping the disses and trying to make it seem like he was being a lot more aggressive than what it really was. Like when you think about like the Lil Yachty reference, it was like, so I know some people like Lil Yachty, but not me though. Like he's saying this is not for me. This is not like what I
Yeah.
can relate to. And like, I mean, there were some references like to people that weren't really like. I mean, it was just kind of like in passing. Like he references 21 Savage. He calls him. He's like, I'm a savage, but I'm not talking about a bank account. Or it's like he's just like throws in Lil Xan's name in there when he was like imitating the Gucci Gang flow. I think it's like him showing like I know what's going on, but it's not for me. It's like I'm keeping my eye on the industry, and like now I'm coming in to like shake things up again.
Yeah, it's almost like this whole album is like Eminem's lens in the rap scene. And I agree with you. A lot of these disses are like, oh man, like people on Twitter are like, it's the end of the world in terms of like hype. But really, it's him just being like honest with people. It's not like he necessarily was calling out like people to like, you know, fight them or have like a rap battle with them. He was just like saying stuff about what he thought. Maybe there was like a couple people, maybe one person in particular that he was calling out more aggressively, but the rest of the rappers I feel like got it easier compared to that one or two people who got called out.
I mean, for sure. Like, I mean, if we're gonna like, if we can skip ahead a little bit in the album to like not Alike featuring Royce da 5'9", which is like I'd say about like 3 or 4 songs after Ringer. Like he goes straight after Machine Gun Kelly. Like to start things off, like to talk about the song itself, it's like a Take Keith beat. It's very similar to Look Alive by Drake. It makes fun of like the Migos triplet flows and like how like people are referencing just like random things and hooks and songs that don't really make sense, but they rhyme or it just goes with the flow. There's a strong Royce da 5'9" verse in it.
It was something that felt a lot different than a lot of the other songs. Like it was more aggressive. I think this is like the aggressive song, like towards these other rappers. Like I kept listening to this song and I'm like, Machine Gun Kelly didn't get it from Eminem, especially after the comments he made about his daughter who was underage at the time. I mean, I can get it, like why he would say something like that and definitely hit him the most, because like, you know, he's talking about your daughter who's not even 18 yet. So I think it was kind of deserved in a way. So I could agree. I kind of took his side on those songs, but I don't know what you think about it.
I think it was a very justified diss, but it's sort of like, it seems like it was on his mind from a long time ago, because this is referencing a freestyle, I believe, like 2 or 3 years ago, because like Haley's currently like 18 or 19, I think.
Yeah.
And like, so like he had this in the back of his mind, and then I believe Machine Gun Kelly referenced Eminem again in a song called No Reason featuring Tech Nine. I mean, not featuring Tech Nine, he was featuring on Tech Nine's song. And I guess that's what sort of like set this in motion. And then like just from there, he just like had this very like the song was just like a general song at first, and then like Eminem's verse was just referencing things about like people doing things for fame, and like the double cups and lean, like pills and all this other like mumble rap culture. And then out of nowhere, he just brings up Machine Gun Kelly with the line, "Next time you don't have to use a Tech 9 if you want to hit me with a sub machine gun." And it's a very good one-liner. It's a very good punchline. But like it just like from there we just got like this like crazy rap god like flow, just like it just didn't seem like it was ever ending. He just kept going on Machine Gun Kelly, and he just kept on like it was a very killer verse. I overall just really liked the song, like, but the diss especially. Yeah,
the diss was something I kept listening to. I'm like, okay, you know, it's making it was a good diss. Like I was kind of, if I were Kelly, I'd be kind of scared, because this man could probably mop the floor with him, in my opinion. Because Kelly, he did say that he might have a response to Eminem, I believe. And I'm hoping that if this does happen, Eminem comes out with the diss track. But you never know. Maybe he does. Maybe this is just an one-time deal in terms of like the whole rap scene. And he's probably going to go back to what he usually does. I don't know.
There's like a lot of people who got, I think there was some more extreme disses, like in the song Fall, where you see like references to Joe Budden and like his past allegations, and like you see talks about DJ Academics, like the journalist. I guess you wouldn't really say journalist, but like the music reporter who like got a lot of facts wrong about Eminem, and then like he pretty much just like says like he just gives like legit threats to both of them. And like of course like there's the controversy about like Tyler the Creator, but like I feel like everyone's kind of like went into that at this point, so like I don't know, like that reference to Tyler, it was definitely an interesting one. I didn't expect that to be the thing that got the most controversy. Like it was an explicit album, but he even I think he censored it. He censored that word. And I don't think it was. I think people are making it too much of a big deal. Like, I think he was, from what I've been seeing from people, I think he's referencing. I think he's referencing Tyler saying it or something like that too. And this is an Eminem album. Like, what do you expect? Yeah. He's gonna use a lot of vulgar language and a lot of things that you don't usually hear from people. So I don't know. That's my stance on it. Yeah, I agree. And like, given the person Tyler the Creator is, I feel like he genuinely does not care about this. He said before that he loves Eminem. He's made some comments, but I feel like this is a lot more like, it's more like, oh, like I'm calling you out. I still kind of respect you though, because like they've been seen on tours together. And like even after Tyler the Creator made fun of like a previous album back in 2014, which was like the Shady 15th anniversary album, like they still were on tour together. They were still like doing acts and everything. I feel like this is a lot more innocent. I feel like Tyler the Creator probably laughed at this, especially given like his past, because like Tyler the Creator said faggot on his songs like multiple times explicitly before he came out as gay. So it's like, I don't know, like
I don't think it was necessarily. I think he was definitely aware of like the meaning of the word and like how he's going to use it, and I guess he knew that it was a big enough word to censor. Like it just shows that he was thinking about how he was using the song. So I don't think it's much of a big deal. Like people were obviously like trying to make a big deal out of it, but I think some of the other disses that he used on other people were definitely a lot more powerful than this one.
Yeah, for sure. Like Fall in general, I gotta say is like I feel like it's one of the best tracks on the album. Like it's very like the beat is smooth and like the little backing vocals he adds to it. It's just like, I don't know, it's like a really good song. It's like a lot less aggressive in like the tone, but like the bars are still like hitting like very hard. And it's just
definitely.
I feel like it's a very like nice song to listen to.
We should go back one track and hear the song that's featured on the record name, Kamikaze. And the first thing you told me was that you noticed like the beat and like the beat and like the instrumentals that they were using for the song, and it was pretty cool. I won't lie. I got kind of hyped as soon as I started listening to it, because it felt like a song that got you pumped up and like kind of like feel another song that helped you feel like his aggression, I guess.
I'd say it's like a more playful, like goofy track. Like it's like this N64 almost like Looney Tunes type of beat. Like it was just very like animated, and it worked really well because like it kind of like fit the tone, and like it was like another side of Eminem, like the more like I guess you could say more just like, I don't know, like I feel like it really just like took a different turn. It was like Cause like Eminem's known for like not using like hip hop beats at times. I feel like this took like a different twist on it. Instead of like giving us a rock beat, it was still like something that like actually fit the tone of the song, and it was giving us something different, but not being like too bad about it or like too obvious.
And I kind of liked how he was kind of self-aware throughout this album. Like he's obviously like upset that people criticized Revival as much as they did, but he also recognizes that if the people didn't like it, obviously there was a disconnect there. And I liked how that went into like the skits, the two skits for the album, which were the Paul call and then the Eminem calling Paul. Like I genuinely enjoyed those two little skits on the album. I wasn't expecting them, but when he called them, he was kind of throwing like a jab at himself, like responding to the people who didn't like the album, that was responding to the people who didn't like the album before. I thought that was pretty funny.
Like it's like he knows like he's kind of being a bit like, I guess you could say sort of like petty, but like he's kind of like indulging it, and like he's like enjoying, like relishing in the fact that like, you know what, I'm bitter about this, I'm just gonna make it everyone's issue. And like I kind of liked, it seemed like it was a reference to like a known YouTuber in the community, Sean C, who like lives in Michigan, and like made a joke about the wind chimes. So like it's like, oh yeah, I'm paying attention to you reactors out here.
The way that he reacted to that comment was actually pretty hilarious. And like I love how they added like the little touch that whatever like Google Maps or Apple Maps was in the background, and it was like turn left, turn right, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Normal is the track after this. If I had to be honest, I didn't think the song was bad, but I feel like it was average. It wasn't something that stood out to me. Like the rest of these tracks, I kind of liked a little bit more. I'm not saying Normal was bad, but I feel like this is one of my least liked songs from the album.
There's like definitely a major like shift in tone, because like the first three songs were The Ringer, The Greatest, Lucky You featuring Joyner Lucas, just like very like they all fit the theme of Kamikaze, just getting back at people. And then like out of nowhere you get this reprieve. It's Normal, and it's like a wacky song about Eminem being a stalker. But like I feel like for what it is, like it's a fun little song. It's like sort of like tongue in cheek, and it's like ridiculous. It's sort of like, I feel like we got like songs similar to this in MMLP too. It's like,
right.
No, it's just like a little like, it's like for what it is, like you're meant to enjoy it. It's not meant to be taken too seriously. And like I think it's just, I feel like this, especially the last verse of the song, like it's like, I don't know, it's just pretty fun. Like if you just like step out of like what this album's supposed to be and enjoy the song for what it is, like you'll have fun with it.
I can see that. I should definitely re-listen to it again, and just like take it as its own song, because it definitely does feel a little out of place in the album. But like I said, I thought it was an alright song. This didn't necessarily kind of hype me up as the other ones did. One of the songs that really hyped me up was The Greatest. The Greatest was really, really, really good. I liked it more than The Ringer. While The Ringer was a really good song, I thought The Greatest was great. No pun intended, but it was great.
It's like, it's a very simple but entertaining hook, and it's like the song itself is just like very, just like, it's just Eminem at it doing what he does best, and it's bragging. It's just like letting everyone know just how good he is at rap.
Oh yeah, that he definitely showed the best of Eminem in that song, just because like it goes with the title, and like I think it was one of the stronger songs of the album. Like it isn't like a single. I don't know if it's going to be a single. Hopefully it is, because it was obviously really good. But right now, The Ringer is I think it's the first single, or like the biggest song on the album. But I hope the next one is The Greatest.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, based on what he posted on YouTube, he's only posted 3 songs. He posted, I believe it was Lucky You featuring Joyner Lucas, Fall, and Kamikaze, which is making me think those are the 3 he's gonna run with as far as like his bigger songs. I'm hoping we get the greatest, but like I guess I can see the appeal between the other 3 because like Kamikaze's like we went into it. It's like the one of the more crazy tracks with the beat. Fall is like very listenable. Like it's one of the best musically as far as like the smooth beat, the smooth flow, the backing vocals. And then Lucky You, like, yeah, it's like Joyner Lucas finally gained his big break and getting to interact with Eminem on a track. It's like you can tell that they worked on it together as opposed to like sending verses back and forth just based on how like they bounced off each other. Like their verses mirrored each other. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. This song was really good. I got hyped on Joyner Lucas after listening to the song. Like it did what it was intending to do. Like his verses were really good, and Eminem was obviously really good too. But Joyner has like I've heard a couple of his songs, but I feel like this feature definitely has been some of the stronger stuff I've heard from him. And he obviously like you said, like it felt more natural, like as if they were working on it together in person rather than obviously like sending verses. Like they were kind of bouncing back on each other with the verses and like all this crazy stuff. It was just like a really satisfying listening, and I always go back to this song whenever I'm like listening to the album again.
And with that, like we have the last 3 songs on the album, which are kind of like the big break from the theme. Like the two songs with Jesse Reyes and Venom.
Nice Guy was one of the twist songs. I was listening to it, I was like, all right, what is this song gonna be? And then like maybe like 30 seconds in, I think that's when it turns to like what it ends up being. It's like a very raunchy, vulgar kind of song. Like you feel it with the vocals and like all the beat and stuff. Like it just feels, it was like really crazy. And I really liked the twist. Like obviously Jessie Reyes, like her voice sounded great, but I really enjoyed when it just changed, because like it was like a change of kind of like angelic to kind of almost like a demonic kind of feel.
Yeah, her voice was very good. Like I think she did well with the features, but just like I don't know, it felt odd to sort of see this in the album. It feels like after Fall, the other 3 were like bonus tracks. Like, and from there, like, because like these 2 like didn't really fit Kamikaze at all, and then like Venom was a good song, but like it didn't like the narrative didn't really end with it. Like it was like a song for a soundtrack. I can definitely see those. Like I feel like these songs would be featured on those like Walmart exclusive CDs or something like that. Obviously Venom is like for the upcoming movie, so that's probably going to be another single, because like the movie's going to promote the song anyway, so people are going to be listening to it. So I don't even think he needs to do much of anything to promote that song. So I think that's why he's promoting those other 3 songs. Yeah, for sure. Like it's sort of like how like Survival, like that song from MLLP2 was for like Black Ops, or was it Ghost? I think it was. Like it was like a partnership between the 2 brands, and that got put on the album. Like I guess like it makes sense. It boosts sales, and it's sort of like it's a fine track anyway.
It's boosting sales, and I feel like I wish artists would do that more, because like I personally buy some albums sometimes, and like I hate when the song isn't on like the album, even though if it doesn't fit, like I like having the song kind of there. You never know, because like you have to make a separate purchase, and it's just like really weird and annoying. So I appreciate the fact that he put Venom, even though it didn't fit obviously, but like it was hard hitting. It was definitely one of the stronger songs of the album, even though it didn't fit it.
It was a good song. I feel like the only thing that didn't do it justice was the fact that it was the ending of the album. So it's like it kind of like we went from like what we got with like the rest of the album, and then we just end on this thing that's not really connected. So I feel like people are sort of like taking their feelings out on the song over that, even though the song itself is fine.
Have you seen on Spotify where they have like one side, like the Drake album, like it had two sides, kind of like.
Oh yeah,
and
like
I feel like Eminem could have done something like that and like had the whole album, obviously, like with all the same songs, but like put these 4 songs elsewhere, like on the second section or something like that, and like said, oh, obviously these songs don't have to do much with what people are obviously coming in to listen to, like obviously new Eminem, but also all the disses that are happening, so it do the songs justice.
yeah, just like mark them as bonus tracks or like mark them as like different narrative. Yeah, I feel you. But like overall, the album was just like, I just enjoyed it. Like I feel like besides those songs, like even on their own, they're good songs. Like there wasn't really a very bad song on the album.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely, as I said before, I like Revival, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but like more of a mixed opinion, because there are a lot of people who still think that Revival wasn't really that strong, and I can see where you're coming from, because like, you know, you wanted something more, you wanted less of the pop stuff, you wanted more of like regular Eminem, and I think this is perfect. Like whatever Eminem was thinking when making this album was definitely like a good idea, obviously, because it was, as an album itself, it was way stronger than Revival. I haven't, like I said before, I never enjoyed a rap album as much as I've enjoyed this, because of how like crazy and just like how good Eminem can make an album in like a span of 8 months, basically. Because I don't know how long he's had this done, but I'm just like freaked out on how talented this man is, and how talented this guy is in his 40s.
Exactly. Like it feels like he's just like getting like better with time at some points. Like right now, like this is him back at top form. We're dealing with like an inspired Eminem, a passionate Eminem. Like this was a strong album, and honestly one of my favorites of the year, because like we got hard delivery, tight flows, nice punchlines, great beats, return of the hip hop features, return of the skits, and like just like an overall like strong connecting narrative, sans the final 3 songs, which didn't really like connect, but were still fine. Like, and not only that, but like the album, I feel, promotes replayability, just because like there are so many punchlines and so many bars and metaphors and double entendres that you keep on coming back, and like you have to listen for new stuff. You'll discover new stuff with each listen and appreciate the songs more.
Oh, definitely. I kept going back because after the first listen, I was trying to figure out like all the people that he had dissed, because I saw you talking about it, and I had to go back and, you know, backtrack and like listen to the songs a little bit more carefully to figure out, okay, those are the disses that he's making. Or if I'm like doing something or like working out, like I'll go back to the album, like listen to the songs more carefully, because I'm like focused on that, obviously. So like it does promote replayability, because obviously you want to hear like Eminem like giving his thoughts on the rap industry right now, and you want to listen to all these like awesome verses, and like he was using a lot of, I love the punchlines that he was using, and it really got me back into like a rap feel. Like right now I'm on a rap feel. I want to listen to more rap albums right now, especially seeing that one of the artists that may have been referenced here, NF, is probably going to come out with an album then, and we're going to talk about that song when it comes out, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like this album as a whole was like good for hip hop, because like it's like people are like talking about it, like talking about like the genre a lot more. It's like we're getting like, everyone's like, oh, who's gonna reply to who? Are we gonna get some sort of like beef from this? And it's like, it's just like like you get to like celebrate one of like the more legendary people in hip hop, and like for people who appreciate lyricism, like it's an album that's like I know. I feel like it's a very special album, especially for people who support Eminem and wanted him to come back to like what he once was.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a big step in the right direction, and I'm gonna keep paying attention because I don't know if he's ever not ever, but like when is he gonna release something else? Because some people weren't expecting him to release anything for a while after this, so you never know. Maybe he'll go back to a busy schedule in terms of making albums, but I don't expect to see anything for like another 2 years or something.
Well, actually, I think he's still busy at the moment because his movie, like he's producing a movie that's coming out in November called Bodied, which is like, it's sort of like 8 Mile, but it's like, it's having its own soundtrack. So we're supposed to expect new music from him in a matter of like 2 or 3 months. And like, there have been people like, such as like Anderson .Paak and Busta Rhymes talking about how they've been in the studio working on tracks, trying to get it ready for the soundtrack. So like, this might just be like the busiest year we've seen of Eminem since he returned back in 2009, 2010.
Wow. So he's making basically 3 albums in the span of a year.
Yeah.
And like one has been not universally praised, but really praised. The second one obviously has been a little bit mixed. And this one could probably be another big album for him and like another couple big singles, because like imagine that, like he has to promote those 3 singles from not Revival, Kamikaze, and then he might have to promote another single from the upcoming movie Bodied. So this is going to be like this is probably like the best year to be an Eminem fan if you're really loyal and dedicated to him.
Exactly. Like, it's good to see him active again, and it's like it leaves you hopeful for what he just might do, because like in the album he even said he's just barely getting started. Like we've seen from people like Jay-Z that like even if you're older you can like have that longevity and keep on going and keep on releasing work.
Yeah, I don't see Eminem giving up anytime soon. And even though he made it seem like in Revival that he was gonna not give up, but like, you know, slowly start winding down, I think this album really fired him up in a way that I feel like we haven't seen in a while. And I'm glad it did. So I guess it's good that Revival kind of didn't do so well, because we got this. So I'm happy either way.
Exactly. Like, things are looking good right now. Well,
I guess it's the end of our review. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, comment below on your guys' thoughts on the songs. And if you like this kind of content, obviously subscribe to us. We have Media Mondays where we talk about music, we talk about TV shows, we talk about internet stuff, we talk about all sorts of stuff on Mondays. Wednesdays we have our wrestling videos, who aren't us, but we have different hosts for every show, but they're gonna have a crazy video coming out on Wednesday. And then we have gaming videos on Friday. I already checked that video out. It's freaking amazing. You should definitely stay tuned. Check it out on Friday. And that's that. Thank you for checking out the Nerd Grid. This has been B.
This has been Oasis.
And we're logging out. See you guys later.